Matthew Stafford now dealing with more of a serious back injury than I think we're being led on to believe. Similar to Mixon. Mixon's foot, not a big deal, right? Yeah, it's a big deal. Now Mixon is questionable in many ways for week one. Don't believe that he's just going to be ready to rumble in week one if they're going to reevaluate him right before week one. And Matthew Stafford, as much as we want to pretend this situation is going to be fine and okay, and it might, and we'll address each player. We'll address Puka, Adams, Kyren, how it all affects these players. But McVay said that his QB back soreness will not return to practice Monday as anticipated. McVay said the Rams will take it week by week with Stafford, but that the QB did not experience a setback. McVay said the goal remains to have Stafford back for week one. Not what you want to hear, not saying he won't be back for week one, but certainly when you talk about week one, when we're sitting here July 26th, you know things aren't as good as they're making it out to be. This isn't good. It's not for sure anything yet. We don't know what it is, but it's not good. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
So at the end of the day, we can't panic. We can't sit here and act like this is, concrete. We know what the hell we're looking at week number one. And we don't know what this is going to do for the passing attack to be without Stafford, the offense to be without Stafford for a string of weeks. You don't jive together. There's some potentially slow starts that happen with teams that endure this kind of, setback. I think that you got to look at it from a couple different perspectives. You got to say to yourself, okay, what is the worst case scenario? What if Stafford has this back issue that doesn't go away and he ends up making it worse in week one, or ends up rushing it and at some point he leaves the lineup? Puka Nacua tanks in value.
Stock on decline.
If that happens. Devontae Adams
stock on decline.
Tanks in value, although I'm not saying they can't survive and produce, solid numbers. Kyren Williams, his situation doesn't necessarily go down in value quite as bad, but if they aren't moving the football down the field, he doesn't live in the red zone. He doesn't get the touchdown opportunities. He faces 8-man front after 8-man front. But the one thing we know about Kyren, and I'm not saying that this is all rose petals and white doves, if Kyren does end up facing a situation like this, McVay is still a scheme artist. And what he'll do is pound the rock with Kyren. Kyren, instead of getting 5.1 yards per carry, which is what I expect him to get in an amazing offense with Matt Stafford pushing it down the field, this goes down to, unfortunately, a 4.1 to 4.3 yard per carry type of season for Kyren. Then he gets overloaded. Then he has injury risk a little bit more than normal because he's getting 329 carries instead of, 300 carries that are more efficient. Kyren at 300 carries at 5 yards per carry versus 300 and let's even call it 340. Let's say he stays healthy and has 340 at 4.1. What's the math on those two different scenarios? 4.1 times 340 carries is 1394. So if we go to the full board screen, 1394 is what you get yardage wise out of that. 300-ish carries from Kyren, let's call it 5.1 a pop is what we were saying earlier. 5.1 a carry, that's 1530. So 5.1, you're talking about a 1530 yard back here on 300 carries versus 340. 40 less carries, Kyren does much better. I'm not saying he can't get to a 1,300 yard season and call it 12, 13 touchdowns. Kyren gets you 1,300 yards and 12 TDs. And I don't want to say that's the scenario that Stafford's out the whole year, but let's say he misses time. Let's say this team is in shambles for 1/3 of the season. They don't necessarily do what they're supposed to. Kyren's still getting probably this number. But is his receiving production going to be all that great? Probably not. If Kyren was to be involved in this high-octane Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, Matthew Stafford, Arsenal attack in 2025, and Stafford doesn't miss any time, Kyren can get you 1,500 yards and 14 to 15 touchdowns. He'll probably get you that 35 to 42 receptions and get you that, 200 and whatever yards receiving in 1 TD. He might have a 14, 15, 16 touchdown season. So Kyren certainly goes down, but he's the least affected, and he's still going to be a giant. He's just going to be a less efficient giant. The same kind of nonsense we hear when people say, Kyren's not explosive. He's not. He's not, Smitty. He's not explosive. The data's there. He's just not an explosive player. He is explosive. He's as explosive as they come. The guy averaged, 4.1, 4.2 yards per carry last year because he faced 8-man fronts over and over and over. Puka was injured. Cup fell apart. There was no passing attack. It was all 8-man fronts. It was 4.1 yards per carry, but Kyren still delivered. What was it? 14 touchdowns on the ground. Let's see. Kyren Williams, I'll pull up his exact yards per carry and everything so that we have it on screen. This is in the scenario that we're trying to paint, maybe happening 14 touchdowns and 12.99. This is a phenomenal season. It just wasn't efficient. It was very good. The numbers were there. They brute force attacked defenses with this rushing attack that everybody knew was coming, and Kyren Williams couldn't get efficiency. He couldn't look explosive because he knew that everybody knew that he was coming, but he still ran for 4.1 yards per carry, 12.99 and 14 touchdowns with stacked boxes all year long. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. Kyren definitely goes down in value if not now, if something is wrong long-term or string of games wrong with the situation with Matthew Stafford. But either way, he's still elite for his 3 to 4 round ADP. Kyren Williams is not in a void. No matter what happens here, he's not in a void. We just want Kyren to be 1,500 yard Kyren and 15 TDs. We want that Kyren versus 1,300 yard, more carries, more likelihood of getting hurt, and maybe 11 to 12 TD Kyren. These are the two Kyren Williams that you're staring in the face. This is with Stafford. This is without Stafford. Without Stafford. Without Stafford, more carries, more likelihood of injury, still a monster. With Stafford, an absolute conglomerate. A monster, a monopoly on the position, essentially, from round 3-4. Smitty, your favorite guys are getting injured like last year. How? Raiders, what does this even mean? You don't even make sense, bro. Your favorite guys are getting injured like last year. Last year, we crushed it. Last year, we hit more home runs than you could count. We hit more home runs than you've ever seen before. We didn't have anybody get injured, essentially, last year. We had Rice go down. That was one. We crushed it. I don't know what kind of underhand comment you think this is, but it doesn't penetrate my armor. And not to mention, we don't have injuries. Our favorite guys aren't going down. What are you talking about? Is Kyren injured? I don't think so. Bring a stronger game if you're going to play in this playground, pal. There you go. Sit in timeout for your ridiculous comment. All right, Smitty, working around the clock. That's more of an appreciation post right there versus this Raiders nonsense. I'm out here busting my butt. I could have walked away and I said, no, my job's not done. There's a Stafford piece of news that needs covering. This guy knows what it is. Smitty working around the clock. That's what we're talking about. None of this hater nonsense, bro. Talking about injuries. Oh, like last year, you're just going to have all your players go down. We hit home run after home run last year. What are you talking about? JD5, Kyren, Achan, Bijan. We did nothing but swing and hit home runs. Unbelievable. Last stream, I missed your membership question. Ask again, Thomas, and I'll answer it right now. I don't have it in front of me anymore. It's gone. But definitely let me know. I don't always see all of those. I definitely see all the super chats, but I don't see all the... I try and get to them, but we had to run out the door. Two guys that won my league last year were JT and Puka. If you have players already existing, teams not, you are fine. I don't even know what you're talking about here. I don't know what you're talking about. Thank you, Corey, for laughing. I don't know if you're laughing at the Raider guy. Would appreciate you anyway. Rams lose week 1. They could. It depends on Stafford. Now, let's back off real quickly and just say, look, we don't know what's up with Stafford. And quite honestly, he could be fine. I just don't like the usage of the word or the term or the phrase or the language that's being used. That is, the goal is he's going to be ready for week number 1. The goal, the goal, I don't like hearing that. The goal is that he'll be ready for week 1. Maybe they accomplish the goal. Maybe they execute upon said goal and they're fine. The thing about Puka Nacua that people have to be concerned about, I'm not saying that this should make you run from Puka alone, but Puka has got massive injury risk. He has one question mark that is injury. Massive injury. This is the most likely to get hurt wide receiver that gets drafted in the top 20 overall on draft day. Massive injury risk. You have Devontae Adams, another question mark because of his consumption of targets and getting so many touchdown opportunities. This guy's a touchdown machine, and Puka doesn't score TDs very easily anyway. So you have another question mark. Touchdown production in question. Overall production in question. Injury concerns. Without Stafford, Puka disappears. So no Stafford. If Stafford's hurt, that's an injury concern. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 question marks right here on Puka Nacua, which I'm not saying makes him a total avoid, but at 11, 10, 12, 13, there are safer players to draft. Who cares? If this ends up working out, great. We want it to work out. I'm not hoping that Stafford doesn't play week 1. We have tons of Kyren investment. We love Kyren. But if this works out, you still have TDs, Adams, injury risk for Puka anyway. Without this question mark, Puka still and has been a tough 11, 12, 13 overall pick for me. There's just safer players there. Doesn't mean I don't like him at 15, 16, 17, whatever. But you want to take Puka as your first drafted player, go ahead and do so. I'm not going to do that. There are safer players there. London is safer than Puka. He is. You don't want to hear it? That's fine. I don't care. I don't care. You don't like London more than Puka? I don't care. Puka scored 9 TDs. 9 total TDs on his career. He's played 28 games. 28 games. He still is under double-digit touchdowns. Puka's never scored on his career over 10 TDs. You know who had 7 touchdowns last year? Tucker Kraft. Tucker Kraft had 7 in one season. Marvin Harrison Jr. in an abysmal year, according to many, had 8 touchdowns in 1 year. Puka struggled to attain 9 touchdowns across 28 games. And you bring Adams in, the injury risk, the touchdown production risk, and then Stafford's injury, it's a concern. It's not a concern to call him a bust. I'm not saying Puka's a bust. Puka's one of the most fun wide receivers to cheer for and watch in the game. This is not a Puka hate fest. And if anybody's sitting there saying Smitty hates Puka, Smitty's calling Puka a bust, I'm not. You got to protect yourself. You need to account for the ADP. It's all about the ADP. Puka's value is too high. His cost of entry does not match with the risk. That's what I'm here to tell you. I don't hate Puka. Puka's not a bust. Puka's priced wrong. That's it. Plain and simple. Same thing with Ted McMillan at the 3-4 turn. I don't hate Ted McMillan. I love Ted McMillan. But his 3 to 4 round turn value on underdog promo code Smitty, that is not priced well. That's one of the worst values in fantasy. Ted McMillan on ESPN drafts in round 7, smash. Smitty approved. Love Ted McMillan in 7. He's not going in 7 on underdog. He's going in the 3-4 turn. That is completely different, and Smitty disapproved. Puka at 12. Puka obviously higher than 12.
You've just been Smitty disapproved.
Puka at 16 overall.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Is he going at 16? No. Maybe he does now. We'll evaluate that as it comes, but that's the Puka Nacua risk. Now, Adams is going a lot later than Puka, so Adams has less risk, but he still has increased risk. And if you were thinking about taking Adams in the 3rd round, now you got to walk away maybe from that. Is Adams a 4th rounder right now with this known risk that is not locked in, cemented in, or known at all? We don't know what's going on with Stafford, but are you drafting Adams in the 4th round when you can get a Hampton, when you can get a JD5 or a lingering Jalen Hurts, or maybe a Josh Allen if you're lucky, or a player like, I think Hampton fits the bill, Rashee Rice serving a 2 to 4 game suspension? Is that safer than Adams in round 4? That's the question you got to ask yourself. The questions right now aren't, hey, what are we doing now that Stafford's out? Stafford's not out. We don't know. The question it is are you baking in the risk, drafting Adams at the appropriate ADP? Are you taking him in 4? Are you baking in the risk, the appropriate risk, that we don't know what's going on, but there's risk of drafting Puka at 12? I don't think so. I'm not doing it. 15, 16, 17, maybe he never falls there based on this news. So be it. I'm taking different players. Do you take Stafford as a starter at all? Probably not anyway. Kyren, do you take Kyren in round 4? No matter what, you should be taking Kyren in round 4.
You've just been Smitty.
Smitty, what about mid-3rd? Is Kyren a risk at mid-3rd? No, he's not a risk at mid-3rd. What are you talking about?
Take a big lap.
Kyren wins leagues in 3 or 4 with Stafford under center. Kyren still wins leagues in round, less so, but wins leagues still in round 3 and 4 without Stafford there the entire season. Now, if Stafford were out the entire year, it's a different story. Kyren would take more of a hit than the hit that I gave him. The hit that I gave him is going to be that there's some ups and downs. There's some back soreness. There's missing 2 or 3 games. That's the low floor that I painted a picture about with Kyren on the board. 1,300 yards, 11 to 12 touchdowns. If Stafford missed the entire year, and this is not a risk of that, this is him being ready for week 1, it would be a whole different ballgame. It would be a whole different ballgame. Phone lines are open. Dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
All right. Ben, appreciate your super chat. Ben to the moon. Ben says Smitty is the standard. Mahalo, as always. Thank you, Ben. Appreciate you for the super chat and for chiming in and for the positivity. You know, there's not every, this show isn't for everybody. It isn't for everybody. It is what it is. Dial in and let's have a conversation specifically around this. You know, I'm sorry to say we want to talk about this right now. I don't mind if you call in and ask about this and then maybe have a follow-up question, but I'm not here right now at this moment in time to help with your 4th round rookie draft selection. No one's gathered here right now around the campfire to listen to your rookie draft right now. They're here to discuss this situation. And if you call in and ask otherwise, you'll be getting the boot. Bruce, you are live, young man.
Hey, Smitty, I got a question on this.
There you go.
What if Puka fell to like the Tyreek Hill value? Which one would you take, Puka or Hill?
Bruce, you're so conspiracy theory. It's hilarious. Bro, he's not falling past like 15, 16. And like I said, I grab him there. So, of course, I grab him in the Tyreek Hill area. But Tyreek does fall. Like, where are you seeing Tyreek? What's that mean to you when you say that? Because that could be 4th round, 3rd round, 2nd round. Because he's going everywhere.
I've seen him go. I did a mock and he went and he did the 2-3 turn.
Okay. So let's say he fell to, let's call it late 2, not 2-3 turn, but late 2. I'm taking him. Like I said, if he falls to 15, 16, a minute ago, I just said I'd take him at 15 or 16. I'd take him, that's baking in a lot of risks. And that might not seem like a big drop off. Like, oh, you take him at 16, but not 12, or 17 or 18 and not 12. Maybe more like 17, 18 and not 12. It is a big drop off. It's a significant drop off. That you're talking about, a big, at that point, 18 picks in, 5 or 6 picks is literally, like in some cases, majority of the talent's already dropped off. Those first round talent can linger a little bit, and he would be considered a 2nd round talent as a big drop off, and it bakes in a lot of the risk. But I mean, as far as the Tyreek Hill like 3rd round value, there's no way Puka's falling that far. But this is definitely a concern. I mean, there's no way you can spin this in a way that is like it'll be fine unless you're being oblivious. If you're being oblivious to this situation, That's one thing. Bruce, call back. Somehow you disconnected. Phone caller, you're live. What can I do for you? What's your name and where are you calling from?
It's Gabe from Houston.
What's up, Gabe?
Hey, I have a two-man keeper league. I have Puka. After hearing this news, somebody offered me Derrick Henry for Puka to swap 1-for-1. I mean, should I go ahead and do it? My other keeper is Nico Collins.
So this question's tough because you're talking about how long can you keep Puka? How long can you, like, in general, in any sort of keeper or dynasty format, Henry's going to have that 1 year value. I don't think you can do this. Puka would continue to have keeper value. Is that correct? Or has he become like a 1 year keeper? It depends on the keeper value.
It's a 2, so I have 2 more years left on this keeper.
Okay, so limited keeper. Okay. And then Henry. So Henry's going to give you the 1 year at best. Puka, you're getting 2 years after this year, so it'd be a total of 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. First of all, Puka by a mile, but also the trade value of Puka in Dynasty is still going to be really solid. So if you want to get out of this, don't go that direction. Go for a Hunter and plus something, significant. You could get like a Hunter and a Harvey, for like Puka and something. You could go 100 different directions, but going into an aging veteran that you're holding your breath hoping he has this one last year, you'd rather hold your breath and hope Puka doesn't get hurt. The odds of Puka staying healthy and Stafford being healthy week 1 is probably as good, if not maybe even still better than Derrick Henry playing like a baller all year. So this is a horrible idea. Yeah, horrible idea.
Okay, I've just been worried about the running back position, but I think we talked like a couple days ago, and I told you I was just going to take Hampton as my RB1 season, and you said just go for it. I mean, so that's probably what my method is. Just still do.
Okay. All right, man. Call back if you got another one.
All right, appreciate it.
Later. Bruce, sorry to hang up on you, Bruce. What else did you have, Bruce?
It's okay. No, the reason I brought up Hill is because, and I may be thinking dumb, but if they say Stafford's hurt, like he is hurt, but I'm saying like he's going to miss a couple games. I was thinking Hill might be, Hill would be a better value, and I didn't know.
No, because bro, you got to look at it like this. Tyreek Hill has major question marks himself. One that is Tua, one that is Hill's his age alone. Like, has he aged out? Doesn't matter how fast he is running around on a track or around the bases or with kids, at a camp. Is he aging out? Is Tua going to stay healthy? What's his role in the offense? Even when he looked healthy and was running around, they didn't throw him the ball. He's got more question marks than Puka. Puka right now is not hurt, so he doesn't necessarily have that question mark. Tyreek Hill got his brace off and he had the screws removed. I would say he's probably not hurt either, but there's more of a chance he's currently dealing with something than Puka, who's not currently injured. So Puka has those question marks, but his question marks are a lot, I think, safer than Hill's anyway, because of Hill's age and potential drop-off anyway. No matter what, Hill could be healthy, Tua could be healthy, and Tyreek Hill could just not play well because he's too old. So Puka by a mile. We can't overthink this. This live stream, my doubt for Puka at cost of entry of 11, 10, 12 overall cannot cloud the minds of everybody in here to just take Puka Nacua and say, well, Smitty doesn't like him. That's not true. And I'm not yelling at you, Bruce. I'm yelling to make the point across, get the point across to everybody. I like Puka. Love him. He's fantastic. He's so fun to root for. He's amazing. With Stafford, he's a marvel. With Stafford, he's a top 5 wide receiver. With Stafford healthy, top 5. We don't know if Stafford's not there. We don't know. We know that there's some risk right now, but we don't know that Stafford's not there. There's a fine line between overreacting on Puka Nacua and just saying, be smart. Be smart. If you're drafting at that turn pick and London's there, who has no question marks, only everything on the up and up for London. London's safer than Puka Nacua. If you're drafting at that 1.12 spot, and Genty and Achan are there. And you don't want to go Puka? Don't go Puka. Go Genty and Achan. Smash that combo and be smart about it. Doesn't mean I don't like Puka Nacua, but you get down to you get down to 2.6 and Puka's there because of this news. You take the gamble on that. And you shop him if his value returns to normal, and you turn it in and flip it into something amazing. But there's a fine line here, and I have a feeling that about 80% of everybody in here understands it, and about 20% don't. I think 20% are walking away from this live stream, hearing what they want to hear, and they'll be back and they'll say things like, "Smitty, I don't think you hated Puka," and I'm gonna say, go get me a coffee, because you don't understand the distinction between some of the tough conversations we have to have on this show and some of the ones you hear on other channels. All right, Bruce, anything else?
Yeah, I got one more. I missed it the other day, but how bad do you think this Jefferson injury is? Do you think it's very concerning to you?
Go watch the JJ video. I do a whole breakdown on that. But this is a concern, but we can't overly panic right now. But this guy's hamstring issue ever concerns us because of the PTSD we have from the last time. So am I concerned? Yeah. Am I dropping him past, in a nutshell, Bruce? Am I dropping him past Bijan? And he already was for me, but am I telling everyone they should follow suit? Gibbs, Bijan, Jamar Chase, Lamb. These guys are now, I don't want to say like a tier because of talent. I don't mean it this way, but a safety tier ahead of JJ. But JJ is still in the mix for the very next player to draft. For now, if we hear another bad piece of news, we need to then react to that. But this cements Bijan, Gibbs, Chase, and Lamb above JJ, but you can't overreact. Just be careful. Be smart. Don't overdraft him right now. Don't overdraft him. If you wanted to go Genty over JJ at 1.5, in a redraft, I would Smitty approve it. I'm not saying you have to do it. I'm saying I'd Smitty approve it. I don't care what anybody says. All right, later, Bruce. Appreciate it. Go watch the JJ video. All right, later. All right. Let's see here. Shador to the Rams. Unbelievable. Dak Prescott to the Rams. Imagine that. Joe Milton looking so good. Let's just send him now. The dead cap would be crazy on that deal. But next year, let's go look at Dak Prescott's dead cap, because I think that if Milton once, I don't want to say if, once Milton gets into the lineup, I don't know what to tell you guys at that point. I don't think Dak's getting his job back. I just don't see it. Contract. Let me get Dak Prescott's contract up on screen. So, like, he's going to be untradeable right now. His dead cap for 2020, because he just signed his deal. His dead cap is going to be $180 million. But, you know, during the middle of the year, that doesn't necessarily pencil the same way. But here's the contract. And even if he gets traded in 2026, there are, things that a team can take on to acquire a player. But if Milton gets in there, I'm telling you, he's gonna keep the job. But look at the dead cap. Impossible to happen this year. Dead cap on the far right column, $180 million. It goes down to 129, goes down to 55. Remember, Russell Wilson was a crazy dead cap travesty in Denver, that they basically, Denver paid Russell Wilson $35 million last year to play for the Steelers. That's how bad that cap hit was. Crazy, man, when you think about it. Insane. But yeah, look, Shador, the Browns are disrespecting Shador like mad dogs. Who knows what happens with that? The Cleveland Browns are scared to do anything. They're scared to trade Shador. They're scared to cut Shador. They're scared to start Shador. They're scared to cut Gabriel. They're scared to start Gabriel. They're scared to trade Gabriel. Shador would be in their eyes, given that they didn't necessarily even believe in him, otherwise they would have drafted him over Gabriel. They just got scared and panicked and they took him. If they could turn Shedeur into something significant, it would be a welcome trade for me. I want him out of Cleveland. Put him somewhere amazing. Put him somewhere amazing. Phone lines are open.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
I'll be here for just a few more minutes answering questions. Dial in. And then we'll be back later tonight. You're live.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
What's up? Wes? Is this Wes? Hold on, let me merge this call. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me get this other caller in here. All right, go ahead. Caller, mute yourself. Let me go over to Wes. Wes, you're live.
Just working, listening to the show. Nothing relative to what you were saying as far as Stafford and stuff. The whole Cleveland thing. But what do you think's going to happen? Do you think Cleveland? Because I know this team. They're not getting rid of Sanders. What do you think is going to happen? Wes,
I don't know how many times I got to tell you, you don't know this team because this team is not something anybody can know. They're a garbage organization in many ways. Is the fan base amazing? Yes, one of the better fan bases in the league. I love the dog pound. I love this fan base. They're so dedicated and loyal. The fans are amazing, but the team is a Mickey Mouse team that continues to make mistake after mistake, blunder after blunder. So don't tell me you know what the team's going to do. There's on good authority that they have been wanting and likely to keep just one of Gabriel and Shedeur. I'm not saying they end up going through with that now that Judkins isn't on the roster and they potentially have an extra way to look at this thing. But it has been on several good authorities that I could speak to this, that they are deciding to keep one of those quarterbacks and one alone. And the fact that Gabriel was, by some accounts, and I don't agree with these accounts, remember that, saying that Gabriel is outproducing Shedeur, in their minds, look, I don't agree with it, but it's being reported. All that matters is what Cleveland believes. All that matters is what Cleveland believes. Not what you believe, not what you think, not what I think. And Cleveland's inept. They're inept. Stop acting like you know what they're going to do.
Cleveland. No, I've been following them since.
It doesn't matter. I do this for a living, Wes. I do this for a living. You can follow them as long as you want, but I still know what I'm talking about.
Dysfunctional.
They are.
They are dysfunctional. They are 100%.
Don't be apprehensive.
Walker, Cave, Cabot. What's up?
Go ahead.
I disagree. I do.
That's fine.
I think a lot of this has to do with Sanders' father, Dion, and
of course it does. But I didn't say it didn't have to do with that. Dion is a absolute problem, and these teams passed on his son because of Dion at about 70-80% of those scenarios where teams should have drafted Sanders and they didn't. They kept passing on him. But that's all part of this equation. This is a part of why Cleveland can't see straight. They're scared. They're apprehensive, to use the word last night. They're apprehensive to pull the trigger on starting him, pull the trigger on keeping him, pull the trigger on cutting him. And for anybody that thinks that Cleveland's not capable of cutting the wrong quarterback when they say they're keeping one, you don't know the team. This team is so capable of that. They are.
I don't. Yeah.
I mean, anything can happen.
What do you think they're going to do?
I hope they cut him.
I'm not going to go back and forth. What do you think they're going to do?
I don't think they know. I think they're just going to sit on their hands as long as they can because they're scared. They're scared to make a decision one way or the other. They have so much embarrassment tied to this Deshaun Watson contract that's still there. They want to wipe their hands of that. And what I told all of you, and when Travis was on the phone one time, we were talking about the best thing the Cleveland Browns could do is pull a 49ers Brock Purdy scenario out of their hat. If you pull out a quarterback, out that ends up being this savior, you don't care about Watson anymore. Trey Lance was a debacle, not because he didn't have talent. Shanahan ruined the whole opportunity. And it was an embarrassment for the 49ers. They would never have lived down unless they got a Brock Purdy, which Adam Peters is a part of that decision. Brought this kid in, and no one gives a crap about how much they spent on Trey Lance. that it failed. They've got their quarterback. It's all forgivable. Everybody forgot it. So
Right.
if you get a quarterback like that, and Shador fell right into their lap, and they tried not to take him over and over, and anybody says the Browns were smart by waiting, they weren't. They got real lucky, and they showed that they didn't know what they were doing by taking Gabriel ahead of Shador. And I don't care about draft capital. In some cases, you want your quarterback to have high draft capital, so that you're committed to them more. You'll weather through their ups and downs more. The lower draft capital, the bigger of a problem you're putting on your own plate when it comes to the time to make a decision between Gabriel and Shador. And to draft Gabriel, who's not good, now you're putting yourself in the most uncomfortable and awkward position where draft capital is trying to weigh the decision for you. And that's why the Browns are the Browns. That's why the Browns are the Browns.
I mean, so I mean, we're all right. That's fair. All of that. How do you feel about the rumors of owner collusion? I don't know. I didn't hear you talk about that owner collusion on the draft when pertaining to Sanders. Did you hear about that?
I mean, bro, there's all kinds of rumors out there, and none of them necessarily are the for sure reason he fell. It's a combination of everything. It's a combination of the fact that, and it could have been as simple as some of the things I've said. Maybe his father, Deion Sanders, who has had Shador under his thumb his entire career. He's the only coach he's ever known, and he's had his thumb on this kid his entire career. And you know how much pressure that is to have this overpowering. We don't actually. Nobody's had a father named Deion Sanders, so we couldn't know. No. And if I was bringing a little really good kid too. If I was bringing a little psychology to the table, I would have sat down with a team that I was working for, if I was, and say, you guys got to think outside the box on this one. All we have to do is get this kid rescued from his father. And I'm not saying Deion wasn't a good dad. I'm not trying to say that at all. It sounds like with what he had mentally going on from all that he endured, he's a pretty good father.
He's just annoying.
He's an overshadowing, overpowering control freak that has had Shador under his thumb. And if Deion said, go into this meeting right now and you blow it so they don't draft you, Shador would have done it. And while most people would
I think he did.
Okay, hold on, Wes. Let me just get this out. If that did happen, and let's say it did, everyone else out there but me and a few others are going to judge the kid for it. I'm seeing through it. I'm saying to myself, all we got to do is get this kid away from his dad. His dad's got other things to do. We can't follow him around, nor will we allow him in the building. Okay, so once we get him away, what's the personality? Is this kid able to grow? Is he able to blossom? He's at an arrested development. And so some ways the legendary, this cocky, arrogant kid is not as cocky and arrogant as you think. And I would have told the team that I was working for, we take a gamble on this kid. We separate him from his father, and look what's happened. He's taken all of this with stride, getting disrespected on draft day. Everybody just, blasting him left and right. He's kept his head down. He's looked fantastic. He's earned the respect of his teammates. I like Shador a lot. I don't know that the Browns appreciate him. The Browns are not that good of a decision-making organization. You ask me, what do I think is going to happen? No one knows.
Yeah.
No one knows.
Okay. Well,
they put themselves in a box again, though, taking Gabriel ahead of them. They had pressure.
Well, nobody wants Gabriel. None of the fans want him. Even the reporters. It's like they're being forced to report these things. They don't want to be reporting it. And as far as how Sanders has looked, no, you can't not judge anybody throwing a 10-yard pass. You know what I mean? Without pads, without a rush. We don't know what these videos are that they put out. I disagree. The things I've seen on the internet with him, they don't look so good. You got receivers that are diving for passes, and then they're saying they're great passes. They're really not. Right. You're not going to know until game day, which is honestly, give me 10 seconds here. Joe Flacco has no business starting. If I'm the Browns, I'm going to play Shador and Dylan.
It doesn't matter what you want. It doesn't matter what you want. This team is not a good. Well, it's not a good organization. The fan base deserves better. This is an organization that
we do
very well start one of the other bad quarterbacks, or Gabriel, who's bad as well, and pass over Shador. I hope somebody comes with a strong offer for Shedeur. I hope the Saints go, we screwed up. We screwed up big time.
Don't say that.
No, Wes, I don't want the Mickey Mouse organization. I don't want that Mickey Mouse organization ruining Shedeur Sanders' upside. I would love for the Saints to be like, we screwed up.
Hang on, I know I'm interrupting you. I ain't doing that. I gotta go. I know you want to get going too. So,
yeah, 10 seconds, go.
The Browns were doing good in terms of their decision making until the Watson trade, bro. They had like 5 solid years of good decision making under their belt. They actually looked like a great organization until they went all in on Deshaun. And when that trade happened, nobody thought what Cleveland did was bad. They thought the Browns were
they took on a player that was looking at 20 plus pending cases of domestic whatever the charges were at the time that were left. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Yes, they did at the time. They had 20 something pending cases, bro. That were upwards of 30. In his contract, he wrote that you guys are aware of all the cases. And in the contract, it said if there's another one that you have not disclosed, your contract could be void if a new one emerges that you have not told us about.
That's right. You're right.
I know I'm right.
You actually are right.
Remember, I do this for a living, Wes. I know you think you know the Browns more than I do, but you don't. But I appreciate
you know about the Dion video? You know about the Dion video where they asked him live before the draft even happened? They talked to him about Cleveland. Did you see that video?
Yeah, we've seen it all, Wes. We've talked till we're blue in the face, Dion, and how
you watched Dion laugh? Dion laughed when they said to see him in Cleveland, and he laughed. He laughed because he didn't want. He didn't want to come in Cleveland. All right.
That's and Dion's the problem. Dion's part of the problem. That's what I'm saying. That the teams that overlook Shedeur didn't see the big picture. They didn't see that when he gets out from under his father's thumb, he will grow as a person, as a player, as a teammate, his skill set, his ability to listen, all that stuff. And if his dad told him to go in and blow an interview, which I have no doubt that his dad probably did, he probably had to listen to him. He had to. He was under his father's roof, under his father's thumb, and I would overlook it. And I think what he's shown already would make me bring, if I'm the Saints, I bring a strong offer and I say, we screwed up like the Hangover scene where they call up and they say, we screwed up. We screwed up. This Shuck kid is horrible. As predicted. Go get Shedeur.
I'm really bummed out. I am. I have the only thing I have to look forward to this year, honestly, is fantasy football. I'm not going to be. I'm going to watch the Browns, but it's not looking good.
All right, Wes, got to go. Appreciate you later. Last caller, 214.
Hey, Smitty, it's Ryan. How are you?
What's up?
Question about the Stafford.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so with Stafford, with the potential missing of the weeks, how does that affect Kyren going forward with those potential misses?
I did a whole breakdown on that, so you have to rewatch the video. Otherwise, I'm just repeating everything I did. Go watch the beginning. I break down how it affects every player, whether I believe he's missing games, he's not deemed out of any games. He's not expected to miss a single game right now. The goal is to have him ready for week 1, which is a concerning choice of words. But he is not expected to. You said he's expected to miss weeks. He's not. We have no information on that, so we can't overreact. But rather than break it all down again, just go rewatch the beginning of the video.
Sounds great, Smitty. Thank you.
All right, man. Appreciate you later. All right, I'm out of here. Appreciate you all. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you, Ben, for that one. Thank you for the calls. Wes, appreciate you. Thank you. I don't mean to send you, Ryan, back to the video. It's just I already broke it all down in 20-minute detail. Going over it again would just be nonsense. But I appreciate you asking. I don't expect you to watch the whole show yet, so it's not a bad thing to ask. All right, I'll see you all later tonight. Appreciate you all. Don't forget, I'm live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm live additionally whenever big news breaks. We've done a Mixon live stream, now the Stafford live stream, and I'm live at midnight Eastern almost every single night. And that means tonight we'll be live at midnight Eastern drafting on Underdog, promo code Smitty. If you want to draft with us, make sure you hit the link in the description or this link right here. I'm dropping it right here. There's the link. Hit that link, sign up, do it now. They'll match your first deposit 50% all the way up to $1,000. But if you don't hit that link now, you probably won't get in. So hit that link, Code Smitty. See you all tonight for the Graveyard Show. Thank you, Travis. Thank you, Blackbeard. Thank you, Sick Nasty. Thank you, Space Ricky. Thank you, DeBalt, if you're out there. Thank you, Vampy, if you're out there. Double A and Kenny Powers. I believe that's all my mods. I always forget. I'm sorry, guys. Deuce.